Hi, I'm Madonna.
I'm your worst nightmare.
To rule the world.
Why don't you show them what you do, honey?
You've never had more fun with anyone else.
People, we gotta move on to the next song.
Somewhere
I'm
in
sweet
between.
and I'm a bitch, you know what I mean? And that's always been the way it is. I'm a human being.
I'm waiting.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna Louise, Veronica Ciccone. Hey, everybody, it's Stefan.
Hey, guys, it's Tony, and guess what? I just bought a pumpkin to carve.
Oh, that's right. Yes, it's October. And today on the show, we are happy to be welcoming Alex Magno, who, as Madonna fans might know, is the choreographer for the Girlie Show and the Drown World Tour. Alex, welcome to the program.
Hey,
welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Hello, all the Madonna fans. It's a pleasure to be here to share with you guys a little bit of the magic of working with the icon. You know, it's been a privilege and an honor to experience working with her. It's just one of a kind, and I'm glad that I'm here to talk about it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, there's not too many people out there that have that story to tell, you know?
Yeah. And not just one tour. You were there.
Yeah.
You choreographed two. And two pretty iconic tours in Madonna lore.
Yeah. And it was in very important stage of her life, I would say. And that where she changed quite a lot from the Girly tour to the Drown World tour. There was a space about 8 years. Yeah. And Madonna has completely turned around and became a completely different, I want to say, human being. Spiritually, I think she evolved she continues to evolve. That's the great thing about Madonna, is that she's able to look at herself and see what's missing in a personal level besides artistically. She's always pushing the boundary. But also, I feel she's pushing the boundary spiritually to evolve as a human being. And that's nice to see her doing that.
Mm.
Well,
I was just going to say, like, that we're already into this conversation. But before we get even more into it, Stefan, why don't you give Alex a proper introduction?
Sure. So, Alexander Magno is a Brazilian-born international director, choreographer, and producer who has remained at the top of his field for over 3 decades. He choreographed 2 world tours, as we've been mentioning, for Madonna, the Girlie Show, and the Drown World Tour, as well as Madonna's 1993 MTV Video Music Awards performance for Bye Bye Baby, which opened the show. And I remember watching that just open mouth, being like, I can't believe she's doing this on television. He's also worked with Jennifer Lopez, Yanni, Britney Spears, the Pussycat Dolls. He's worked on So You Think You Can Dance, on Dancing with the Stars. He's done projects with the Parisian Lido, Ballet Hispanico, Ringling Brothers, the Academy Awards, just to name a few, as well as having his own highly acclaimed dance company show With Passion and the MAAP show series. So that's just a small little hint, a whiff of Alex's overall career. And we're going to do some deep dive on all things that and more. So welcome to the show again. How's your pandemic treating you, Alex?
Oh my gosh, LA is like it's kind of crazy right now. You guys on the East Coast, correct?
Yes,
correct.
We're in New York City.
Okay, New York City. I was in New York City to see my daughter. I have a daughter. She's 32 now. Her name is Caetana Magno, and she's an artist also. So I went there originally to see her show. She had produced a show in New York. It had 20 performers, including musicians, and everything was shut down, as you know, all the live. So I went there, and I didn't change my schedule. So I did have a chance to go through New York just to see. She went there to pick up some of her costumes at the location where she was performing. Right. And while we were driving through the city, it was like surreal. It was like something out of a movie, because New York, I think, was worse. New York is such a saturated city to start with. And we know New York for being alive 24/7 and for having so many people in the streets. And there was empty, everything closed. Times Square was like, it was surreal. And then here in LA, the contrast, at the beginning of the pandemic, we were still pretty open.
Yeah.
And we were not taking that so much serious, And then as this COVID-19 progressed in the US, the governor here mandated, masks, and everybody has to wear masks. And then, originally it was just to flat the curve, and that was only 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And then flash forward, now it's 7 months later. We're still under COVID-19 kind of quarantine like. And so many business have closed down. The art industry, the live art industry, which is the work that I do. And so many of my colleagues and friends and people that I respect and appreciate are jobless and cannot create the magic. And humanity itself is hurting in so many ways, because we cannot experience music, live music, dance, arts, which I think without it, we're kind of like in chaotic state of mind. So it's me personally, it's been a challenge for me to maintain my zen, my spirituality, my vibrations in a higher level, so that way I don't fall into depression, because it's happening, right?
Yeah. So, Alex, what have you been doing to keep yourself renewed and refreshed and just interested, in your art during this time?
So what I do is, beside directing, choreographing, producing, I also write scripts. I wrote something with a TV show with a very famous actress that does from New York. Her name is Ava Scott, and she does a lot of immersive theater experience in New York, and she used to do that famous New York Sleep No More immersive.
Oh,
theater.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, my good friend was in that. It's a great show. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great show. So she came to LA to start her career as an actress here, to do TV, and I had the privilege to host her in my house. And while she was here, she presented me with a concept of something she was working on it. And originally the story was set up in here in the U.S. But some of the characters, the roots was very Brazil. So I proposed to her to set up in Rio, and then I infused the script that she had it with additional material from Brazil, and then we co-wrote this TV show, which I'm hoping that will sell. So it's now on hold in Brazil by True Networks, and we're hoping that gets to be picked up. It's the type of show that is a good versus evil. And then I also do music as well. I do produce and record vocals, write lyrics. So that's what's been my kind of therapy of maintaining. I miss dancing, to be honest with you. I haven't danced for, I want to say, since the beginning of this shutdown,
Yeah.
Well, maybe in your kitchen or your living room, you've been dancing.
in my kitchen, when it plays my song, and when it plays my song, I go and I move. And I'm creating and nobody's around, and then it makes me want to move and create. But it's,
right, not on stage. You haven't been dancing.
Not on stage, and then it's nice to be there's nothing like being in front of a group of 10, 20, 30, 40 artists and collaborating with them and exchanging that energy. It's only a creator such as myself with over 3 decades have the experience to work with all different artists and see the process of creation. And, the journey is the beauty. And when the creation is done, it's the saddest moment, because your baby is gone. It's not your baby anymore.
It belongs to the world.
It belongs to the world. It belongs to the fans. It's theirs now. It's not yours,
So, Alex, I wanted to, before we start talking about your work with Madonna on both of the shows, this is something that I've always wanted to ask someone. So we know that there is like a huge admiration and love for Madonna in Brazil. She doesn't get to go there too many times with her tours, but every time, for example, every single show that I've ever been to, there's always a Brazilian flag and people from Brazil, and Madonna always catches them, always hears them, always says something to them. And whenever a new single comes out, for example, there are Brazilian fans that make remixes, and I mean, there's just so much love there. Are you aware of this? And what do you think, in your opinion? Brazil has for Madonna?
I think that there's a huge love for Madonna, a huge fan base in Brazil, and I experienced. I was fortunate enough to be in Brazil when they did the Girly tour in Rio at the Maracanã, which is one of the biggest stadiums in the stadium in the world. Mm-hmm. And we had 80,000 people, fans, in the summer. And we had a tech rehearsal. And during the tech rehearsal, there was a huge line outside. And the people were screaming. And it was very hot. And we had the firemen. And Madonna let them in during our tech rehearsal. And they watched the whole tech rehearsal and some of the staging that we did before the show, that we make sure every stadium and every stage has some slightly changes here and there. So she allowed them to watch that. And then the fireman hosed them with water. So it's and they love it. It
was like carnival, right?
This is the beauty. I mean, I think Madonna captures people's cultures and essence, and she was able to do that in Rio, in Brazil, at least when I was there during the Girly tour. Unfortunately, the Drown World tour never made it to Brazil. As a matter of fact, it didn't go to a lot of places, that tour, in comparison to the Girly tour. The Girly tour did more of an international leg, bigger, many other countries, but not the Drown World. She did more the U.S. and European tour. But I think a lot of people would have liked seeing her second tour, the Drown World tour, as well,
Yeah, no, I think that she can go to Brazil any day of the year, any year, and cause a riot. I mean, for example, last year when Madame X came out, the day after, the number one song in Brazil was Faz Gostoso with Anitta. So it's like, Brazil loves Madonna. So I
had the privilege to watch that tour, the Madonna, the last world tour.
The Madame X?
The Madame X here in LA, actually, at the Wilton Theater.
Oh, nice. You got to go. Good.
Yeah, I got to go. And I was like killing myself. It's like, why didn't you call me? This tour is me. It's like, it's perfect, because she did a beautiful set on like kind of this European kind of Portugal kind of veranda-like setting, which had this beautiful instrumentation and beautiful, landscape, music landscape and dance. And I was like, it was so me. I identify with the tour, and I love her direction. I love what Jamie King did. I think it was a brilliant tour. I really love that tour. And I'm glad I had an opportunity to watch it, especially now that was the last live experience tour that I seen before the COVID-19.
I know, it's crazy.
I think that was mine as well. So Stefan, why don't you take us into the Girly Show?
Yes. So Girly Show and Drown World Tour are obviously two of Madonna's most experimental and risk-taking productions. For the Girly Show, what was the collaboration with Madonna and her brother Christopher like on that show? There seems to be so many influences in the show, globally, musically, cinematically, and with dance. How did some of the concepts come to be? Take us into that first. Madonna. You get a call from Madonna saying, "I'd like you to choreograph my show," and how does that go?
Wow, that's originally, I didn't get that tour. The job was between me and another choreographer, And Madonna was living in New York. Well, she has a house here too, but at the time she was in New York, and she wanted me to go to New York. Her management company contacted me and asked me, Madonna's seeing your work. She would like to meet you, because Madonna usually do not hire anybody else unless she meets you and she vibes with you. It's a very much like, and I understand, because you got to work with that person for months and many hours. And Madonna can be, if you have a thick skin, she can be intimidating. She can be hard, and it can break you into pieces. So seriously, I mean, I'm saying that in a good and a bad way. So I feel fortunate that I had Madonna's school of kind of like dealing with stress. And when I came to the Girly tour, the tour was under stress because they were behind. So to make it that fast, I was up to do the job. I couldn't go to New York because I had a job in Japan and a contract that I had agreed to do a year before. And I was very new, young choreographer, and I was afraid to be unprofessional and let people down. So I told Madonna people, I said, well, I'll be glad to meet anybody else here that represents the team, and then they can relate to her. And then they decided to hire somebody else. And then in the process, I told my assistant at the time, Carrie Inaba, which is...
Oh, I love Carrie Ann on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, so Carrie Inaba, she is one of my oldest students. She used to train with me and knew my work inside out. And at the time, she was one of the fly girls. And I told Carrie Ann, I said, Carrie Ann, I got this thing for Madonna and I never really got the job, but I have the contact and I know they need dancers. So I want you to follow up, send them a package to this management company, and send them your bio, your photo, your video, and send my video again with Madonna's music, Justify My Love, over my work, my reel. Right. And so at the time it was VHS. So and then let them know that I recommend you. So Carrie Ann ended up getting the call back. She didn't even do the first call. The Madonna saw her and said, oh, just come to the callback. So flash forward, Carrie Ann got the job. I went away and I stayed in touch with Carrie Ann asking how was everything. And then things were going slow and getting behind, and Madonna was not happy. So
you don't want that.
No, of course not. So I got back from Japan 2 weeks later, or a month later. I can't remember exactly. It's been so long, 25 years later. So I contact the manager that originally contacted me and thanked them and said, thank you once again. I'm back in town. If you ever need any help, I'm here, blah, 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 blah. So Madonna went to Carrie Ann and said, okay, Alex, if we reach out to Alex, could he deliver this? Because I hired this other guy that is older and more mature, has more experience, and I'm having these problems. So why do you think that Alex would be able to do it? And Carrie Ann said, well, because I know him and you can fire me if he can do the job.
Carrie Ann.
Wow, good for her.
I love her style.
So, putting herself on the line.
She put herself in the line and said, you can. So they decided to give me a chance. I met with Chris Ciccone at a restaurant for lunch. He asked me a few questions regarding if I was an open mind type of artist, if I had any issue working with things related to because as you know, the show has a lot of it's
sex.
Sex, and it's very androgynous So me as an artist, I wouldn't be the artist that I am today if I look at things from me personally. I'm a straight guy. But what does that mean? When you're working as an artist, you're representing. You want to create what the character. it's not about me. It's like I disassociate my beliefs, what I believe, my political or religion or any of that, and I'm just there to serve the art. So, and I told him it's all about theater, it's all about drama, and I come from that background. So they liked my answer and told me, okay, so come 2 days from now and prepare La Isla Bonita. That was my audition. So I came. She said, Christopher Ciccone told me, you're going to teach the cast, the choreography, and then Madonna will arrive after music rehearsal in the afternoon. And then she'll tell you if she likes you or not. So I never... No pressure at all. No pressure. So I had 2 days to create that, to put it together, La Isla Bonita. And La Isla Bonita is one of my favorite tracks, one of my favorite songs. So here's where destiny has its way. I think I was meant to do that tour, no matter what. The dancers in that tour, Carlton Wilborn, Luca Tomasini, Carrie Ann Inaba, and Angela, they all had trained with me. They were all my students. They were all training dance class with me. So when I came in, it was like I felt right at home because I had half of the cast knew me and knew my style, you know? So I brought in Carrie Ann the night before the audition to play Madonna at a rehearsal. I brought some additional dancers to kind of do a mock-up of what I want to create. So I kind of prepare for the audition because I know how Madonna is. And so I got there. I never finished. I did the entire piece. I had a concept attached to that choreography that we had never end up doing, but I wanted to show that I was just not a choreographer that thought of just steps, but somebody that thought of character, that understood drama, that understood plot, and kind of like convey an emotion. And so I only taught half of that piece, and then Christopher said, it's enough. It's okay. It was in the afternoon. Madonna was there. Just show us that. So Madonna sat down. Okay, show me what you got. I play Carrie Ann play Madonna part, and all of the dancers play that part. And then at the end, Madonna took me aside from everybody else. Like she hugged me on the shoulders and took me in a corner and talked to me one-on-one without anybody listening. And told me, okay, so I'm going to warn you. I like what I see, but if I tell you I don't like something, I want you to have other solutions. And if I ask you, why is this step? I wanted to have a reason, a motivation behind. Because I'm a character. I come from theater, and I value people moving from an emotional core, not just because it's cool or it's nice,
right?
You know. So if you can work and not take it personal whenever I tell you I don't like something, you're gonna be great. And so she kind of warned me. She forewarned me, almost like a mom.
Yeah, I feel like she doesn't do that to too many people. So you're lucky.
She does. I was very lucky because they were behind. You know, they were behind schedule, and they need somebody that would come in and produce. So I told her that my background coming from Brazil, I come from theatrical training. So, and I was used to working on, you put the music on, doesn't matter. Even now, until today, I still work this way. You could play a music to me right now that I never heard and say, Alex, do something. And I would just make it up. You know, I'm good on spot. I'm good in adapting. I'm good. And I always practice this in my classes where I would ask the students, okay, what do you guys want to hear today? What do you want to do? Something fast, slow? And then sometimes somebody would suggest something. I would put it on and make it up on spot and create based on the room and the artist that I had in front of me. So I create the piece for them, not for me. So working with Madonna was perfect because I was creating for her. This wasn't about me creating in my room, my living room, some choreography and then going to her and adapting. I was like in the room along with her. And then we would go, okay, what about this, Madonna? And she would go, oh no, and she didn't look quite right, or she didn't feel comfortable. And I said, what about this? Until she felt right and she felt natural and organic. So I just pay attention to what she was, her body language and her vibration and her energy. And I think we had a synergy above all.
Yeah.
So the collaboration worked really well, you know, with Madonna.
And yeah, you were just, talking about her condition. She was in like extremely good shape at that time. She had like,
she was fit. She was so fit.
She had like the dancer's body that she had early in her career.
Yeah. She was training like crazy at the time, and her schedule was really demanding. And she was, I mean, the funny thing is, for you to have an idea, when we did the MTV award and we did Bye Bye Baby, everybody else was let go that night when we did the before we went to film it. We finished rehearsal early, but Carrie Ann, me and Madonna stayed rehearsing until later, after everybody left. And we were rehearsing the opening number, which was Erotica. Carrie Ann was doing the pole, and Madonna was doing the solo, that she does on the spinning stage.
Yeah.
So, and she wanted me to fix some of the moves that she didn't feel right. So I had to stay. And I can't remember what was the order, but I do remember us missing the party because we had to go rehearsal. I want to say we did the show and we went back to rehearsal.
I think that's probably what happened. So I have two very specific questions about the Girly Show. The first one is, there was a lot of discussion, maybe a rumor, about Madonna having had a conversation with Gene Kelly about the Singing in the Rain segment of the show. What can you tell us about that? And then the second question is, whose idea was it to have Carrie Ann be topless the entire show? She looked great, by the way.
Yeah. I think for that show, I think Madonna, if it was her, I think it was her choice to have everybody else kind of topless, man and woman, and Carrie Ann was the only artist, daring enough to do it, and it kind of fit her persona, her character from the beginning. And kind of she represents that, freedom that, of woman, of like being beautiful
and fearless
and fearless. And I mean, one thing about that cast is what makes the show. And the cast of musicians, world-renowned musicians, Madonna herself, the two Donna and Nikki, and then those 8 dancers. They are theater, pure theater. So that was a time where we didn't do a video screen like the way we do now. It's overwhelming right now. It's like you watch a tour and you don't know if you watch the video, if you watch the small little version of the, so kind of we went away from live theater and focusing on lighting, costumes, and performance and the actual staging and choreography, and let that speak for itself. I'm talking nowadays. Everything is so overly multi-level, it's so hard to it's so much information while you're watching that you almost have to come and watch it again, So I don't know if I answered your question. I'm sorry about that. Did I answer your question?
No, you did the Carrie Ann segment, but what about so did you guys speak with Gene Kelly?
Oh, Gene Kelly. Yeah. Gene Kelly, the great thing about Gene Kelly, I had 2 chances to meet Gene Kelly. The first one was with the Girly tour. And the first one was with Paula Abdul. I did Paula Abdul. I co-choreographed with her the Academy Awards, and she invited Gene Kelly to come watch the rehearsal, and because it was very MGM style type of production, and it was over 40, 50 dances. We were doing The Little Mermaid, basically recreating that on stage. And
I remember that. It was Under the Sea. It was really cool.
Under the Sea, and Under the Sea won at that year the song for best soundtrack. So. And then the second time was with the Girly tour, which was 3 years later, because I believe that show, the Academy was in 1990,
Yeah.
and then Madonna was in 93. So it's like, it's interesting when you start to like look back at your journey and you see the links and see the connection. And I, as a kid, I grew up watching Gene Kelly. So, and I love how he was a genius in understanding dance and filming dance in a way that, inspiring and elevating dance and putting dance in the spotlight. And his character using music, he just was incredible dancer, singer, all around. So when I met him both times, I had a chance to, meet him. The Gene Kelly, he was supposed to do that number in Rain originally. He was supposed to do the production number. But I think that some of his Madonna wanted him to do something very MGM classic, his thing. And Gene Kelly wanted to do something very Madonna-like. And I guess there was a crash of concepts, and that didn't work out. And then I ended up doing the ballet sequence.
But it's beautiful, Alex. That's one of my favorite parts of that show.
Oh, thank you.
I have two. I'm just going to talk for a second, Stefan.
Okay.
Shoot me, okay. No, so the rain, just my imagination, and then the dance sequence at the end. I love that. I still get chills when I watch that. And then, because I'm Latin, so sue me. When you do La Isla Bonita and I'm going bananas, I love the choreography for that, because I feel like she was not, she obviously had delved into the Latin world with some of her music, but that was the first time I saw Madonna dance like a Latin lady, right?
Yeah. It was because, and I remember doing that. That was, as I told you, that was one of the first numbers I did. And the music that I used for the rehearsal was not the music that they had it, because they had a different, Madonna does the new arrangement for every tour. And this is what I love and respect about her. Every tour she does, she puts a new dress, a new facelift on the song. So whatever you hear in your album is not what you're going to hear on the tour. And because she does new arrangement, she, like, if it's like, maybe the song was originally set in New York, she put it in Asia, in Japan, and then put it during the samurai time. And she's cinematic that way. And that, I love that approach to music, and that when they gave me that whole salsa flamenco section, the dance break where Madonna danced with the guys, I went, whoa, I was in heaven. I was in heaven. It was very like, okay, here's the dance break for the Emmy performance. The funny thing, it's funny that the MTV Music Awards, they picked Bye Bye Baby and I think it was great because it was controversial to, the two women dancing together and the whole thing and pushing the envelope. But I also think if we had done La Isla Bonita, the crowd would also love that.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, but Madonna, she was there to promote the Erotica album, so she wanted to make sure you got a new song. And probably Erotica, she wouldn't have wanted to do Erotica because that sort of takes away the surprise from seeing the show. So
true. Yeah. True. Very true.
So, all right. So we could probably talk about the Girly Show for an entire hour and a half or so, but
for sure,
I would love to jump ahead.
Wait. Can I just mention one piece that I think is important, which
of course.
is the main piece, the main dance piece in La Isla Bonita. After La Isla Bonita, the second piece that I worked on was Bye Bye Baby. I'm sorry, not Bye Bye Baby. It was Beast Within.
Yes.
And Beast Within. Okay, so that's Justify My Love, basically. So I already had this love for the song Justify My Love. And then when Beast Within is a remix, basically, of Justify My Love with like Bible reference.
Right.
Sorry about that. Did you hear that? It's 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sorry. So it's 12 o'clock here in LA. But anyhow, so Beast Within was like, when I worked with her on that piece, I kind of brought to her a Japanese. I had a video, a theatrical performance of this dance troupe, very famous dance troupe called Buto. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but Buto does this kind of dark, like where you see the characters all naked, all painted in white, and it's very B-style like, and then, it's very like zombie, like it's like they do like kabuki, but it's a dark kabuki style. So I show Madonna that, and I said, I want to inspire this piece, Beast Within, with this kind of characters like, and then I show her another piece, which called The Rise and Fall of Man, which was my piece that I did for theater, which was about Christ in our times, and there's a crucifixion scene. So and she loved it. She said, yes, I love that. And in the piece, there was some sequence where the evil guy doing a duet with Jesus' character, he's stabbing his hands like he's crucifying, and the character would scream. This very theatrical dance. Yeah. And she loved it. She's like, go for it. so she completely gave me like freedom. This is your spotlight. Just do whatever. And so I think that it's too bad I didn't submit that piece for the Emmys at the time, because most likely I would have won. That tour would have won. The Girly tour would have won. But I was not aware of the Emmys at the time. I like how to submit it, if I was qualified or no. Anyhow, move on now. I just wanted to mention that.
Well, I mean, like I said, we could talk about Girly Show forever. I mean, it's such an amazing show. Personal side note, I love the choreography on Holiday, and of course, Justify My Love too. I thought wonderful thing about Justify My Love was it's sort of like, it's like it comes back, like you think the show's over, and then she does a little encore with Justify My Love, and it was so bizarre and weird, and just like when everyone's under that white sheet and you can see hands and shadows and face, like it was just such. I love that Madonna brought that level of theater to the masses.
Yeah, that big parachute, the white parachute, that was my idea. That was not part of the piece. I just felt that we needed to add a scenic element into the piece. And I also wanted to create silhouettes that under the sheets, people, do the darkest things, all of the things that the taboo, everybody talks bad about it. They basically doing under the sheets. So, and then the sheet is revealed, and then everybody's posed like as if, I'm perfect.
Yeah. No, it was great. It's great. There's so many great elements about that show. I mean, just the reinterpretation of Vogue, I thought was fantastic. And but yes, moving on, we'll jump ahead 8 years to Drown World Tour, which of course that was the first show since the Girly Show. Was there a shorthand to working with Madonna again? Like how did the choreographing for Drown World Tour differ from that of Girly Show? I mean, were you brought in from the very beginning this time? She's like, I'm not going to make that mistake twice. You're in from the beginning.
Well, as I said, I maintained relationship with the manager after that. And through the years, I would send them a concept here and there about like, oh, I heard that Madonna is doing a live performance. And I would say, hey, what about doing something like this? And then at the time I was working with my assistant, and I sat down and came up with a concept for this tour because I heard that she was doing a tour, and I didn't know if she had anybody attached as a director or choreographer. At the time I was moving into directing. So I submitted to her a concept that just happened to be closer enough or with similar, as almost like we drink from the same fountain of water. We were in the same zone. Like the whole geisha thing, I had a whole concept based on that, doing like Vogue. Basically, I wanted to redo Vogue with 3 geisha girls, with the fans, and doing a kabuki style. I had the yin and yang stage, like I had like this whole kind of like very geisha-like section. And then Jamie King and her she had picked Jamie to direct, and they had come up with this whole concept that just happened to be very similar. So when she found out some of the synergy, she's like, oh my gosh, he needs to come in. But I still had to audition because that was 8 years later, and Jamie was the director, and that was not his choice. That was Madonna's choice. Madonna wanted to bring, but Jamie had other people that he brought in, and so I had to audition for both of them. So the audition for the dancers, which was Frozen, I did Frozen.
Literally one of my favorite numbers from that show. It's so fucking good.
Right. And then I had to do Frozen for the dancers. So we had the dancers audition and my audition at the same time going on. So she wanted to see me live, see how I work with the dancers. And it worked out great because, she's like, and I remember Madonna saying, I trust Alex because I've worked with him. And some of the other choreographers that was brought in, she's like, I don't know these people. So, so they're going to have to like prove themselves, type of thing. So I was thankful that I was brought back again and reconnect with her at that level and at that stage in her life where her artistry had evolved, her music, her vocals had vocal range had improved with the whole Evita. She got the whole Evita boost being an actress and a singer, and I think Hollywood was looking at her differently. She was a mom, and she was very afraid to do the tour. To be honest with you, Madonna didn't want to go on tour, but her management company, everybody else was pushing her. She's like, it's been 8 years. You gotta go. You gotta do it. So, but it took. I felt like in the beginning of the tour, if I may say this, she kind of was trying to sabotage it herself. When we do that to ourselves, we do that. We don't feel great about ourselves. We go like, I don't know if I can do it still. It's like, and then you make everything difficult and you don't even know that you're doing that. And it wasn't until like maybe the middle of rehearsals that she flipped things around. And then she said, okay, I'm doing a tour. People are buying tickets. There's no way back. So, but my experience with her the second time was differently because when we did the Girly tour, Madonna related to me directly. She would, the day before we start a new piece, she would play the music and she would tell me conceptually what she sees in her head. She even would do movements. I see something like this. I see something like this. Or Bye Bye Baby, for example, she did do that. She would like grab the girl and be like, yeah, we can do something like this. She would act out the song. She would play the whole song. And I would go home, write it down, all of the notes, and basically, recreate that. But she was directing me pretty much. She was the director. So on the second tour, on the Drown World tour, things was filtered through Jamie, and Jamie had also his own interpretation. So it created, it was more challenging. And then there was a lot of times where Madonna would go, what is that? And then most of the time I would get the blame for it. And then I would go, no worry, I'll fix it. And then I would go and fix it. So in the end, for whatever reason, I end up making the best out of it. And then it always served me. But it was not easy. I can tell you, it was not easy to work under the circumstances of like having to hear one person and then that person have their own interpretation. And then the person go, wait, I didn't say that. What's going on? Sure. So that was challenging.
There's so many different people. I'm sure that it takes
so many people. And then, I'm a director. So if an artist tells me something, I'm going to say, okay, great. I'm going to apply what you told me, but I also have my own vision because I'm an artist as well. So, the artist is doing his job to do that. But there's a time where you go, well, that was my idea. I told him to do that. So that was never said. So I was always kind of throw out of the bus.
Yeah. So I have a quick question just from like, I'm since I don't, I've never directed a tour or choreographed a number. When you walk into that number, like, are you taking into account, you're told, okay, this many dancers are going to be involved. Nikki and Donna are going to be involved. Like for Frozen, she had that amazing Jean-Paul Gaultier kimono outfit with those huge wingspans. Did Madonna say, okay, for Frozen, I'm going to have this crazy kimono outfit and I want the sleeves to rip off. And then the dancers were going to have, like, what's the process for something like that?
Well, that was Jamie. Jamie came out with the concept, and it's that concept completely inspired by The Cell. If you remember The Cell.
Oh yeah, that film by Tarsem.
With
Jennifer
the guy
Lopez.
the guy with the main character coming down with that huge thing on attached to his back, the fabric that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. If you remember that scene.
Yeah.
So and he wanted this long, huge kimono. He had this visual idea in his head, but didn't know how to make it happen. So it was a collaboration of figuring it out what that was and how to rip the kimono and make that becomes wings or become flags, and how to manipulate the dancers, in a way that would look interesting on screen. So Jamie related to me the visual aspect, the concept, and then basically said, okay, I wanted, but sorry, let's take it back. Nikki and Donna is not going to be in this number. They are just singers, and it's going to be primarily the dancers and Madonna. And then what Jamie's staging is so great. He has a formula, which is he set up some moments where he wanted to be statuesque or stoic, or moments where there wasn't that much happening. There was just Madonna singing, and then the dancers were frozen, or they were. So Jamie collaborated with me also on the staging a lot of the pieces, as a director. So, and then I actually appreciate that. And then I was one point when we were doing Frozen that Jamie played Madonna himself. And he said, well, what if she was like this and she would do this and that and that? So and those moments were magical, but Jamie was very busy at the time, and he was doing two shows at the same time. He was doing another show in Vegas, and he wasn't there most of the time. His associate was there, and I had to work with them. So most of the time I was left alone. They would give me a overall concept view of the idea, and then I would just go ahead and do it. Madonna would come in. Madonna, the way she works is she always wants somebody to play her role, right? So in this case, my assistant, Kelly Parker, was playing Madonna's part on Frozen. Let's say I'm using Frozen now because we're talking about Frozen. So, and then Madonna would sit and watch, and she would not learn it until she agreed to the piece. She would be like, okay, I like it. Let's learn it. So, and most of her tours are like that. Most of her shows, she won't learn it until she greenlight it, basically, So it's kind of like, because she doesn't want to do changes. She's like, okay, it's too much, it's too little, it's not the right direction. You need to change it again. And the rehearsals, as you know, it was like one number a day. One number a day, and then the next day you have time to repolish their number and then start another number, So that was the kind of rehearsal that we had. We only had 3 months to come up with that set list, which was close to 22 songs. That's a lot of songs.
Yeah, because there were a lot of albums that had not been showcased in a tour. For example, Bedtime Stories and Ray of Light. And music.
Music. Well, and then when I did Nobody's Perfect, for example, which was only her and Nito Lariosa, it was a great, same thing. Jamie came to me and showed me some images of a samurai kissing a girl, but he wasn't a geisha girl, but he wasn't kissing her. The samurai was holding the face of the lips of the geisha girl with his hand, and was kissing his own hands. And he told me, I wanted her hair to be cut off at the end, you know. So that was it. That's how I was told. So then it was hard to find a dancer within the cast. We had kind of like an audition within the male dancers to play the lead. The height was an issue because Lito had experience in martial arts, but he was a b-boy, so he didn't have the posture. So I had to work very strong with his posture, the way he stands, and then I created the choreography. I play Nito's part, and Kelly my assistant play Madonna's part when we show, and I had a samurai sword, and we show it to her, both of us. That was one of the first pieces I showed to Madonna in the process. And then she's like, great, let's learn it. So I didn't even get, oh, I don't like this, change it. It was like immediately she liked it. And then when we brought in Nito, we had to put him on boots for the height. So that way that was a little bit, and then it looked great. Also, it created this geisha, more, fashion statement. So it worked really well,
Alex, I have a quick question. So one thing that sets Drowned World apart from all of other Madonna's tours, especially all her recent tours, is that it opens up with a slower song, with Drowned World, Substitute for Love. It's such a stark opening, and I think it works just as well as something loud and popular. So can you tell us something, about how that was chosen?
I think that's Jamie, as I said, Jamie and Madonna had this concept, and I remember them. I didn't create that piece. I only work with the performers, making them looser. Like, for example, in that piece, they wanted me to work with a guitar player, Monty, because that was Monty's first performer experience on stage.
He must have been nervous.
Well, he was nervous, and he was green. He had no experience whatsoever. He was a teacher. He worked for Guitar Center, and he was a brilliant musician, but a musician like a studio musician or something, but not a performer. So Jamie asked me to work with him and his to make him look like a rock and roll star. And I'm pretty good about this stuff and helping dudes to be work on that attitude and how they walk into the music and how to stand holding the guitar. So that I work on that. But I love the concept of Jamie and Madonna on that because they wanted to have the band slowly appear like as if they are like entering the stage. No big deal. We're all normal people. And then little by little that pedestrian like become magic. We transform that kind of a very industrial sort into this very ethereal type of experience, So interesting.
It worked great. And thank you for doing that for Monty, because he is now a rock god.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yes.
Well,
he had the talent already, right?
Oh,
he had the gift. He just needed somebody just needs to push the button and go,
All right, before we move past Drowned World, I have one little question about the Madonna's deep knee squats in the music number. Was that your doing, or did that?
No, that's Madonna doing. That's her doing. That's her, and that's her doing and Jamie doing. That's that piece. Jamie did it, and himself. There's only a few pieces that Jamie actually went in and choreographed from beginning to end by himself. And music is one of them, and it's brilliant. You can see his formula, the way he staged, the way he choreographed. If you don't know Jamie, if you know Jamie's work, you recognize that it has his hand on it. You'll be like, oh, that's Jamie. So it's always nice to see in this day where there's so much saturation of. Everybody is an artist. Everybody's famous. Everybody's a choreographer. Everybody's a dancer. Everybody's a singer. It's nice to have something that unique that people can go, oh, that's Alex Magno. Oh, that's this person. Yeah. And I work very hard, extremely hard to maintain that uniqueness, and I always have that stamp, so the people watching go like, "Wait, this looks like Alex," you know.
Yeah.
So and I think that's important, you know, especially in this day and age where everybody is copying everybody, you know, pretty much. It's just like I've seen it. It's just maybe different outfit and different beat, but it's the same song or the same, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Alex, I wanted to ask you, I saw that in your credits, you worked with Donna DeLore on Just a Dream, and that was done before the Girly Show. So
Yes.
What was it like to work with her and then to like be, reacquainted with her in 93 and then back again in, 90?
Yeah. Once again, this the cool thing about working that synergy thing, or that the destiny was basically stitching my journey to Madonna, you know, my pathway to Madonna, and working with Donna. Donna was training with me as well. But by the way, but Donna was one of those dancers that was working with me. I used to do private for her class. She used to take my class amongst all of the other dancers, including Carrie, you know, and Carlton and all of those people. So Donna, we did a music video in Australia, and that music, by the way, that's Madonna's music.
Oh yeah. We know. Trust us.
Yeah, we had Donna on the show, and she told us all about it.
Oh, she told you. Yeah. So we work in Australia. We did that in a place called Perth, which we flew 16 hours to Sydney, and then another 4 hours to Perth, and we were there for maybe a week. Shooting in the desert in this dry kind of, I guess there's a unique place in Perth where the trees, thousands and thousands years old trees have petrified and become like rocks. So we shot some of the scenes of her video in those area, in this desert area, and also we shot in the beach. And then I had two male dancers. One played her lead male dancers, and the other one was just like part of a dream. And then they danced in the water. I choreographed this whole thing with her, which was a mixture, because Donna loves kind of Middle Eastern stuff.
Oh yeah,
and Middle Eastern kind of. I'm not belly dancing, but she's into this. And then my work, my warm up, my choreography has a lot of wave. It's not square. It's very wavy, like kind of type of choreography. So her body felt like a synergy, a connection with the way I move. So, and it matched her music. So I think it was a nice, and I had a chance to work with Donna again. I want to say it was 2 years ago. She did a yoga festival that she does in, what is that? Jacob. It's a town here in the deserts of California, about 2 hours away from LA. And she does this every year. It's a huge festival where she plays the music. And then she brought me as a guest performer. I danced with her, and I played the cajon as well. I played the cajon with her, a whole song. And then in the middle of the song, I stopped playing the cajon, and I come in and I dance. Both of us dance together.
Oh, fun.
So it was great to reunite it again, you know.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, well, she's family. I mean, Donna is family, you know. Actually, all of those people that I work with, you know, I don't see them, but I consider them brothers, sisters. You know, it's part of my tribe, you know?
Yeah. We spoke to Marlene Ortiz a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. But yeah, she had some great things to say about you as well.
Oh, Marlene. You know, all of those diva dancers. I mean, you know, the thing about dancers is this, or in this case, performers, is they can either curse your work or blast your work. In my career, I've been fortunate enough to have amazing, incredible artists that have been able to blast my work and take it to the next level, you know, where if you don't have the perfect cast, it doesn't matter how genius you are, your
Yeah.
work is just as good as your cast is, you know?
Yeah, it's all very collaborative. So before we go into our lightning round to wrap us up, why don't you tell us what you're working on now, anything that you want people to know about you and, you know, what the work that you're putting out?
Yeah. So, you know, every time I do a work, I try to push the envelope and then learn more. So as I told you in the beginning that I've been working production, music production, and producing, scoring, and then doing some of my own short films, and then I'm pushing to do a few different projects that I'm developing right now. One is based in Macbeth, and it's kind of it's set up in a third world country, and I'm writing the script right now. That's one project that I'm working on. And then I'm also working on doing new covers, and I should be releasing this hopefully at the end of this year. I have taking classical music such as Moonlight Sonata from Beethoven and Für Louise, and recreate them and put lyrics to them. So I'm going to like release probably an album that will include those classical music with my interpretation, with my covers, and then reinvention, I should say, of the song. And then as well as original tracks, because I also sing and I speak 4 languages, Italian, Portuguese.
I saw that.
Spanish,
that's amazing. I don't know how you do that.
So yeah, well, because of Portuguese, I mean, Portuguese is my roots, right? It's my foundation, and Spanish and Italian is so similar. So, and through my work, traveling the world, doing what I do, whether it's teaching or doing master classes or choreographing for in Paris or whatever, or in Italy, I have that opportunity to work with different people, and I'm very good about listening and asking questions, and then cultivating a relationship so that I can learn the language and I can learn the culture, most importantly. So, you know, I think there's some pieces that I'm trying to develop, but they are all life pieces, you know, they are that it's not going to happen. One of the pieces called Venus, it's basically about woman liberation, and it's something that I see Madonna possibly doing. Who knows, she might even have, as I said to you, I feel that artists in general, they all dive into this pool, into this river of creation, that sometimes ideas are similar because we all dive from this, we all go to the same foundation, which is this source. And this is when it happened where you have an idea and somebody happen the same idea or similar. You know, it might not be quite, but it's the same theme or the same direction. And you go like, wait, so that means I'm in the right direction. So I can guarantee if I sit down and talk to Madonna and tell her some of this stuff that I have, she probably have thought, you know, or is thinking about, you know.
Well, if you do sit down and talk with Madonna, tell her we'd love to have her on the show.
Stop. Hey, Stefan, I think it's time for the lightning round.
Yes. So, Alex, every guest on our show gets a little bit of lightning round. It's basically just meant to be off the top of your head, off the cuff, wherever you're at in your Madonna journey. So because you choreographed Girly Show and Drown World Tour, I'm going to do a little bit of lightning round leaning towards those tours. So go back in time into those eras and just as soon as you hear the question, whatever first thing comes to your mind. So favorite Madonna song that you choreographed for the Girly Show?
Beast Within.
What was your favorite song on the Girly Show set list? Not that you choreographed, but like, did you have a favorite Madonna song on the Girly Show set list?
Yeah. I loved obviously Justify My Love. I love Vogue. Not Vogue. I'm sorry. No, yeah, I love Vogue.
Yeah.
I love Vogue because it was brilliant. Like the whole recreation, musically, choreographically, concept. And I love Rain. I love the arrangement of Rain. It's
So
beautiful.
good.
So good.
The three girls singing together. This is the last time I seen them singing together. And I have that imprinted in my head. And I think all the fans does too.
Oh yeah, we love it.
And in this life was a beautiful moment by herself, singing for the fans, talking about her departed friend, that was a very felt moment in the tour. I think that's it, in that show.
So what was like one of your favorite Madonna songs on the Drowned World Tour set list?
The Drowned World Tour. I love Paradise Not For Me. I think it's a beautiful song, and blended right into Frozen. Frozen is my Madonna all-time best song of all time. Period.
And just favorite Madonna song ever is Frozen.
Yeah. Ever is Frozen.
Nice.
Just because, just in that music video that she does in the desert, it's just magical. It's transcending. It's just, the first time I saw the video and I heard the music, and I was blown away because musically, it's God. It's like it's like divine. It's like it's magical. It's so I was extremely happy when I was given that to choreograph in the tour. It was a big gift.
Wait, so what did you think when you saw it on Madame X? Because that was crazy. That was so cool, right?
Frozen, yeah, that was her daughter, right?
Yeah,
yeah, it was her daughter. I think it was beautiful. I think the song is bigger than that. So I like the touch. I think it was nice to see. It was like endearing, and it was like magical because it's her daughter. It's all grown up. I watched her daughter used to come to rehearsal when she was for Drowned World when she was 4, and she used to imitate her mom and crawl. When Madonna does the Impressive Instinct on the opening, when she crawls on her leg.
Yeah.
I looked on the side, and her daughter is walking on her knees, imitating her mom. So I have great memories of her daughter when she was really young, and she grew up to become a beautiful young lady. And she's a very talented, amazing dancer. And I think it's a nice touch. But as I look at that music, it's so grand. It's so but it's a refresh. I love the tour. I love that whole tour. I didn't have I didn't like this. There was no moments in the tour that I did not like, except maybe towards the end, maybe there was one big number that I didn't feel that needed to be there. Musically speaking, it was not even about what was happening on stage, but I just felt that didn't need, but I don't remember exactly because the overall show, there was more. 95% of the show is amazing. And there was some other moments. I'm talking as a creator, not as a fan.
Right.
As a creator, you're always going to have your opinion. I always try to take that away. I always try to go, wait, Alex, watch this not from a creator, watch from an audience point of view, from a fan, because that's primarily what she's doing for. She's doing for her fan. She doesn't care. She can care less what the creators think, because everybody's going to have their own opinion.
Yeah.
And their own, so, but in saying that I love 95% and I was inspired by it and I wish I was there, I'm saying I love the show. I thought the show
I get
was
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, favorite number to choreograph on Drowned World Tour?
I have two. I want to say Nobody's Perfect, just because Nobody's Perfect was it showcased me as a director. As a theater person, as somebody that understands characters and understands cinema and understands, how to convey an emotion through movement, and understand character development. And that is very clear on that piece, that piece is what got me a nomination for the Emmys, for best choreography, outstanding choreography. We lost, myself, Jamie, and Deborah, because it was 3 choreographers on that tour, lost for Kenny Ortega, which for the Olympic Games at the time, because the Olympic Games won over us,
well, if anything's bigger than Madonna, it's probably the Olympics.
Right. It's weird to compare orange and apples. It's like it's so different. It should be compared to another tour, really.
Yeah.
At the time, but again, at the time, the Emmys didn't have as many categories and there's many dance-related projects, so they kind of compile a bunch of other projects together. So I just honored that we were nominated, and we were in that list,
So favorite Madonna music video?
I love Human Nature. I love Human Nature. I love, and then that was Jamie's first experience working with Madonna.
That's right.
I think I love the dancers. I love the visuals. I love the music. That's Jamie as his essence. As a choreographer, at the time, that's Jamie stamp. You want to watch James choreography, you look at that music video, and then you go, shit, the guy's amazing. And then I love Frozen, as I told you guys. Her by herself.
It's a mood.
Yeah, it's incredible.
All right, last lightning round question. Favorite Madonna look, and it can be from a music video, a tour, a photo shoot.
Wow. So I love her when she plays Marlene Dietrich, in
the Girly Show.
In the Girly Show, I love that look. She looks incredible. She looks iconic, And this is one of the things that I love about Madonna is that that's why she was telling me that she's like, when I move, when I dance, when I do a song, I become the character. I am the character. So I need you to think that way. So they gave me videos to watch of Marlene Dietrich's old movies that they had for me to study myself, before I choreograph that segment. And being influenced by, being inspired by. So I think she did an amazing job doing the whole voice with the accent, the German accent, singing the track. Some people didn't get it because they don't understand maybe who Marlene Dietrich was and what kind of work that she did as in the cabaret and what she represent. But the European, the US, they got it. It's just like some of the other countries, they go, wait, can we just hear Vogue the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah, they don't. Sometimes I think Madonna does that in a lot of her work where she's, putting forth a reference or she's paying homage to a certain person's work. And the people, they haven't done their homework or they're not as well read or, they just don't know where it's coming from. And so to them, it looks a little strange. But once it makes sense.
Yeah, but then that's part of educating, right? So we are as an artist, it's our job not only to inspire, but also sometimes to influence or educate people and tell them something that shines some light in the darkness, and that means telling them some about an artist that they otherwise would never know,
Absolutely.
So.
Well, Alex, we could talk for ages about these tours because God knows, as a fan, a Madonna fan for a long, long time, both Tony and myself have worshipped those 2 tours that you got to work on. So it's
totally.
One, it's been a pleasure to be able to speak to you and hear some stories from those. Thank you for sharing that with us. And then 2, just thank you on behalf of Madonna fans everywhere for the amazing work that you did on those shows, because I will still watch. Drown World Tour is one of my favorite Madonna shows ever. And your choreograph numbers that you did are part of that. I mean, Impressive Instant and Frozen and so many, there's so many numbers, music and this, like so many music numbers in that show that are just amazing. So thank you for that as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for being on the show, Alex. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media. And
Sure. You guys, it's been a pleasure being here to share my journey working with Madonna, and I've been blessed to have that opportunity and to learn from her, from her many years of experience. I actually learned quite a lot from Madonna herself. She taught me quite a lot about being pushing yourself, about being multi-level, and being a culture myself, understanding the different deeper meaning of the song, discovering, investigating, and I think that. And then you guys can thank you everybody that's tuned in, all the fans across the world. And without you guys, Madonna's music wouldn't be there. We wouldn't be there to create the magic that you guys watch. So I thank you for continual support and your love. And you guys can find me and follow me at Alex Magno Official. That's Instagram. And you also can find me on Facebook, Alex Magno Official. And then you can also go to my website, which is alexmagno.com. Very easy, alexmagno.com. And then that's it. And hopefully we get to cross path again.
Yes.
On stage, live.
Yes. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was very well expressed. I want everyone to follow you. And when you come out with your new musical project, let us know and we will post it on our page.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you guys, we love our fans. We love putting these episodes out for you every week. So keep listening and, give us those 4-star reviews. Is it 5
stars? I think it's 5 stars.
Yeah.
Tony.
Give us a 5-star review.
If you can give us a 5-star, give us 5 stars.
Exactly. But you can find us on Instagram at MLVC Podcast. You can find us on the web at MLVCpodcast.com. Everywhere you have social, you can find us there. You can also find us anywhere that podcasts are being broadcast. Spotify,
Apple,
Google
Amazon,
Podcasts,
Google Pod. I mean,
Luminary,
we're
everywhere.
everywhere.
So, all right, guys, stay safe. Take care of each other. We'll talk to you guys next episode.
Thanks again, Alex.
Peace out, guys. Take care. Bye.